You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru atıyor. Kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Zuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş.
Welcome back, everybody! Beşiktaş International's The Black Eagles podcast is back with episode 123. Lots to talk about today. I am, of course, your host, Sinan Sporting, coming in live from New York City. And with me again, really making a habit of this, the Akman himself, Evran. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. Team's back in training. You know, we're gonna have stuff to watch sooner rather than later. So yeah, all things are moving upwards, you could say. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm ready for this accelerated off season. Usually we'd have waited all of July anyway for nothing to happen. So, that's already out of the way.
Yeah, we got those episodes out of the way. And what was nice is it was sort of painless because we didn't really know what was going on. So we got through the rough patch. We didn't even need to pull out any name what player on Beşiktaş is like a certain character on X TV show, like Seinfeld character or something. I don't even know what shows we'd have in common. Actually, we had a few in the group chat conversation, but anyway, we're way off topic here. Let's talk Beşiktaş. Naturally, and there's quite a bit to talk about. So let's stick to the news, the actual news first. And of course, there's no match to discuss. Although there is news of matches on the horizon. Of course, Beşiktaş has a confirmed Champions League qualifying second round of the qualifying opponent. We also have a friendly tournament. Let's just do that first. There's a friendly tournament that Beşiktaş has accepted, and we're going to be playing against Fenerbahçe, Antalyaspor, and Sivas. I don't know. I don't think there have been any dates announced there. Stay on the lookout for details. What I do know is it's been called the Land of Legends, which is fairly dramatic for a 4-team preseason tournament.
You know what? I saw that and I skipped over it because I thought they were talking about League of Legends. Because we have like a League of Legends esports
That's so
team.
funny. Yeah, I think I had the same
what
thought,
is this?
but I pursued it. I looked into it. But so we do have a preseason tournament, which is actually nice. Obviously, in this weird accelerated preseason, we were gonna have to be somewhat local. I hope we'll maybe get in some sort of foreign opposition at some point, maybe after this, like one match or two. But again, we're not gonna have a lot of time. It's nice that this is a tournament so that they'll all be in one place and they can get all the matches out in a couple of days. So we'll get some decent preview of our Super League opposition, but probably nobody trying to reveal too much. So, What do you have any thoughts on that?
I guess it makes sense to can't really travel abroad during this unnecessarily. I think other than the Champions League qualifiers, exactly. There's no need to be doing that.
And Antalyaspor being a part of it. I bet it's going to be in Antalya. That's a very common...
Yeah, we do preseason there almost all the time anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised. They have all those hotel pitches.
Exactly.
And they hosted the 3rd and 4th division playoffs, so...
and it could be good. That's why I have hope we may see some foreign opposition perhaps afterwards, because usually a lot of foreign teams do training there as well. I don't know who's in off season, right? Like some leagues are still up and running, so I mean, this is just a wild thing in general, but
Yeah, I don't expect to see any foreign preseason games this season.
Yeah, it's certainly not in the cards by any stretch, but who knows? Maybe possible. We'll see.
Especially if it's going to be a shortened off season. Probably just be that tournament, and especially if we win our first qualifying round. Spoiler.
Talk
about that.
And that could qualify as a sort of preseason game. It's a one-off match, and it's technically an away game. Although there's talk of it maybe being moved to a neutral venue, given the nature of it and all. You'd think they would do that since they're breaking it down to one game anyway. Right. Before we reveal this thing, Evran, can you explain this to me? They're doing one game qualifiers because of the crazy schedule. This isn't like a permanent thing, right?
I mean, there is some murmurings of making this like permanent. But as of now, it's just a temporary COVID thing. Like that's why like the current Champions League quarterfinals and Europa League quarterfinals are all one-legged or one-off games.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
As of right now, our qualifying game will be a one-off match.
Yeah, and we're gonna play drum roll PAOK or PAOK of Greece.
PAOK.
What do you have to say about them? They're sort of historically a friendly club of ours, right? We have a positive relationship.
Somewhat, yeah. They're the only Greek team that, like, I guess we don't have terrible relations with. Is they're kind of like considered like a sister club. We're both black and white Eagles, and a lot of the people from that Greek-Turkish exchange kind of came from that area in Greece. If you want to go back on your history, but Twitter did not take it well.
Speaking of history, real briefly, PAOK was originally founded in what was at the time referred to as Constantinople, and has since obviously changed names.
Yeah, they're now in Thessaloniki.
And so, they sort of reestablished in Thessaloniki. But so they have some ties to Istanbul, literally, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, that's their claim anyway. I don't know. I'm not a PAOK historian by any stretch. But yeah, that's our rival, and it could have been worse. I think AZ would have been the team that we really wanted to avoid, and it could have been better as well. Lokomotiv.
Zagreb.
Zagreb, it could have perhaps been better opposition. Although those guys can be scrappy, those Slavic sides. But so, it's gonna be an interesting tie. Obviously, our ability to compete in that match is going to be dependent on who we bring into the squad before match day begins. I guess before we can even get into that, let's just talk about the squad that we have now. Where are we lacking? We don't have a striker, right? Like, unless Kyle Larin.
We do have strikers. Kyle Larin is in. Right now, we have a 21-man squad in training for the first 2 days.
And so the news there also is that we're back in training, which
I think you mentioned earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
So we kind of led into it, but it was some of the loanees were back, which was Oğuzhan, Kyle Larin, Alpay Çelebi, and Aydin Hasic, I believe, off the top of my head.
Not Fatih Aksoy. We'll talk about that later.
No, not Fatih Aksoy, yeah. So there is some drama in there. The notable absentees are Fatih Aksoy, the players that we, own, was not there, which suggests that the Wellinton transfer is going to happen. And then Muhayyer Oktay, Sedat Şahin Türk, and Erdem Seçkin were all loaned out. Last season, were not in training and have not been loaned out again or anything. So,
which is weird because I thought Erdem was tweeting and Instagramming rather, posting a lot about his return to Beşiktaş. I'm surprised he didn't eagerly arrive in training. But
it's possible they don't have a future with the senior team.
Perhaps something
for Muhayyer would be kind of disappointing because he was pretty good last preseason. But
very good, yeah. we'll see. I mean,
That's how it works sometimes.
we shouldn't be too speculative, I suppose. We really don't know quite what's going on here. But yeah, the guys are back in training. Some notable absences, as you mentioned. Other absences, I guess we might as well mention Atiba wasn't there. There's still a bit of a struggle as far as the re-signing process. Any words on that, Evran?
Yeah, I mean, I think the salary that is reported that we're offering is really low.
I'm just gonna say insultingly low. You know, even when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, come on, like, really? We're gonna do this again?"
Yeah.
Um,
Me, it's a tough one.
yeah, and
I think we all still want him back, but you know.
yeah, he also doesn't have like a huge value, but still, I think that was a certainly low ball on it. But anyway, let's get into more news.
One other squad news.
Oh yeah, let's finish that up. What else you got?
Ljajic, unfortunately, the second day of training, which is where we're in as of recording, has strained his soleus, which is like if you your calf muscles, like you have like that upper, which is the gastrocnemius, and the lower part that's like attaches to your Achilles tendon, where that is. He has a mild to medium strain there.
Dope.
Which is not good. We have a game in 2 weeks. Not sure.
I heard that he should be back by then because it was a strain, right? It wasn't a tear.
Yeah. But whether or not he'll be fully fit,
So that's another
partially
thing.
fit.
Yeah, and how much he trains with the squad, and if there are new guys, if they're going to be meshing. But hopefully he can do some light training. I think it's a precautionary thing, right? You keep someone out. This is one of those injuries that people used to play through, and now that we're smarter and obviously I think investing way more in guys too. We're way more careful about, and it's really kind of injury prevention. Yeah, exactly. Sprains turn into tears. That's how you. But yeah, before we get into obviously like the really fun stuff, the speculation and the transfer gossip, and there's a lot obviously, and I'm sure our listeners probably know where this is going, and that's going to be a fun little convo. Let's stick with reality for a second. And this is actually probably a good segue. Before we talk about how we're going to spend massive loads of money that we theoretically don't really have, let's talk about money and some good news, actually. So obviously we had a huge campaign, kind of the modern era feta, and it's been dubbed the hashtag Birakmam Sene. But so yeah, give us the news there. So we obviously had a great event with sort of Turkish celebrities who are, I suppose, Beşiktaş fans. You're kind of coming out as one anyway. Singers, entertainers, Sergen Yalçın, Ahmet Nurçebi. Everybody came out. A number of players were in attendance. Yeah, I'll hand it to you, Evran. I'm sorry, I'm hogging the mic again. Who was there, first of all, offhand?
I know they had like that guy from Survivor. I don't think there's any Turkish Survivor watchers. But I guess he's some sort of heartthrob or whatever that people care about.
I heard there's some controversy that he might actually be a Galatasaray fan.
Yeah. But it was just like, some Turkish celebrities, and then in attendance there was some of our players. And then also I forgot to mention EC Montemiran was back from on loan, and he was also in the crowd for the beat.
A number of guys. Tyler Boyd was there. Kyle Larin was there. Ozan with his haircut was there.
Yeah, with his little curls, whatever he's got going on. But yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna wash my hands and I'll do our hopefully we don't get many more of these little COVID awareness campaigns about how everyone should always wash their hands when in doubt. I touched something. You can't be safe. So yeah, we have our nice little sort of temporary break music. Okay, good. We're ready to go. So yeah, Birakmam Sene. Huge campaign, great success it turns out. And so Evran, tell us about the money there. How much money
Yeah.
did we make? What are we dealing with?
So in that,
What can we start throwing around
in
now?
that TV special on its own, I think they raised 80 million liras, which raises the total amount raised now to 150 million, which is a grand total of like 20.7 million euros, which is not as exciting as 150, but still a lot of money because we're broke boys.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess we raised more than Fenerbahce's campaign when
Yeah, they had like 81. Or
yeah,
something.
so obviously, you know, we're cooler, bigger club.
Doing a lot better than them. Even in these times with the
We
economy
beg
tanking and
better
the
than
coronavirus. Or I mean, you know, we're just better people in general. I think. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, it was a great campaign, good success. It shook out to some 20-something million euro, right?
Yeah,
Which I mean, look,
we definitely need the money. That's what we're gonna.
It's a lot of folks' salaries, right? I mean, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but today there was a sort of signed document by everyone within the squad saying that they'd been paid up and were good to go. So we're going to the UEFA competitions with no hitches in that regard. So that's obviously good news and perhaps tied to the money that just came in, because that would certainly cover a few, outstanding debts, you could say.
Yeah.
But I guess before we move on from that, please do remember we also have so donate. You can still donate to the Birak Mamsani campaign. Look it up online, easy to find. Give some money to the club. While you're at it, don't forget about our friend Mohamed Aminu and the Besiktas JK Academy, Berlin Academy of Accra. Please donate to them as well. We're still trying to get kits to those kids in Ghana, in Accra. Their preseason's underway. They lost their first match against another Division 2 Ghanaian side. Good luck to those guys. And give some money. Remember, $5 bids give you raffle tickets for each one. You can buy as many as you want. And you will be put into a drawing to receive a match-worn Atiba Hutchinson kit. Beautiful black kit with the black and dark gray stripes. Probably one of my favorite kits from the last few years. I don't think, morally speaking, I can put in a bid on it. Although I honestly really he's one of my favorite players. And it's one of my favorite kits. And we'll do a reveal for it, and I'll probably wear it. So you'll see why I have a certain guy on the back of mine. I'd much rather have Atiba Hutchinson. Let me just put it that way. Stay tuned for all that. We'll reveal when we're going to do the drawing, and we'll do the drawing. But so for now, the bids remain open. Put them in. Get yourself the opportunity to get this great Atiba Hutchinson match-worn kit. Really, certainly, I think the player of our era. So the guy whose match-worn kit you'd want to have, I think. Anyway, that's speaking for myself. But so, moving on. And so we were just talking about how the boys signed some document that's going to enable us to play in Europe this year, saying they'd been paid. Evran, there's a dark and stormy kind of cloud associated to that same topic. Tell us a little bit about that.
Our great friend, Loris Karius, has entered the news again. Apparently, there's a dispute over how much money he wants to be paid. 800,000 euros. He's still asking for the money from Corona, plus the time he left the club, along with the money he was owed beforehand. So Besiktas doesn't want to pay that. Apparently, they're asking for a transfer ban, which is weird for a player to do. But on top of that, the report
I was going to say, finish that
out. We still have money to pay to Victor Ruiz, Wagner Love, and Guti. Like assistant coach
Former
Guti,
assistant coach, not the player. Really interesting. I was going to say, I would, if I was going to blame any of those individuals for saying they were going to report us or whatever and wanting the transfer ban, I would put that on Victor Ruiz. And I'm remembering the quotes from right after he'd left, where he said, I'm gonna get that somehow. And remember how he sort of made promises he was gonna stay in Istanbul, join Galatasaray, all of that sort of gossip stuff he said. Maybe this is his sort of notion of how he's going to make sure he gets his money back, no matter what, or whatever that threat was.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, I promised I wasn't going to do this. I promised I wasn't going to do this, Evran, because I said it's annoying too. But thank you, Victor Ruiz. I'm going to have to bring in the. I hate doing this, but I just that guy, like, oh my god, like I can't even, like, I can't. Okay, no more words about that. Yeah, but so they're trying to get a transfer ban, and I think that, like, when you look at each of these cases individually, they're all being arbitrated separately, so you can't just suddenly. I don't put much stock into it. The Karius thing, obviously, it's being disputed, so they can't just be like, yes, in fact, we're going to give you a transfer ban for something that hasn't even been decided on yet. In fact of the matter is, I think the fact that it's being arbitrated means that if we lose, we've already committed to paying it. So I don't think that's up for dispute. I think that's also the case for Victor Ruiz. I don't know about Guti and Wagner Love. That's news to me, obviously. But yeah, I mean, do you have any sort of disputes on anything I said there?
I mean, yeah, nothing. None of these things were like officially announced, but I guess in the Karius report, they have like specific court case numbers and all that. So it seemed kind of like if it was made up, they went a long way to to make it up. And obviously we didn't pay him, and obviously he went to FIFA already, so it is pretty believable that they're still fighting over it.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can get those numbers, because I think, like I said, that's already being arbitrated on, and that's why, like, again, if we lose in the court of arbitration, there, we'll obviously be held to account and have to pay. So I don't think we could be punished preemptively for that.
Certainly it's possible we could get fined on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. But you
transfer ban will probably not happen.
Yeah, that sounds absurd. And again, it sounds like someone trying to stir the pot. That bit of it, anyway.
We've done much worse and never gotten a transfer ban. So I don't know.
And I don't like Loris Karius doesn't seem the type of guy who's like, I need to get these guys back for what they've like. He still posts on Instagram, and all of his former teammates on Beşiktaş and he are commenting between each other and joking and laughing. Like, it just feels like that might be a little bit of a contrived story. Again, maybe it's the Victor Ruiz angle, which, he did sort of like promise a blood vendetta or whatever the hell it was. That freaking bastard. But yeah, let's move on. Let's get to the fun stuff. And so, yeah, we have some money to spend now, theoretically, although really, we all know that goes right back into the ocean of debt. Just a few drops of relief there. But let's talk about the good stuff. Evran, did I miss anything? Is there anything else about our guys currently in the squad?
Yeah, no, nothing.
No more
got the whole
contract stuff.
Squad.
I think
got it all.
Yeah, everyone's there, right? No one's sold. Injuries, that's all sort of good. Like, I'm just making sure, because this is really the fun stuff. Let's talk about transfers, transfer rumors. All right. So obviously, where do we begin? Let's not do the fun stuff, because everybody knows what we're here for. Let's start from the back. First of all, defensively, there's talk of Serkan Kirintilis still for goalkeeper. I think that's the biggest linkage we have for a backup keeper. Anything from you on that, Evran?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet since the other rumors have came in. But I mean, I guess we're still in the market for. We did sign our 17-year-old keeper to a professional contract. Emre Bilgin, who got promoted last season. Yeah, we mentioned
that
was the one thing we forgot.
And that was his name. We finally got his name too, which is
Emre Bilgin. Yeah, so Utku's still there for now, but whether or not he's there at the end of the summer is unlikely.
And Utku, if you were online today, you would have seen photos of him in training. I think Ridvan Yilmaz or someone posted an image of him in one of those little squads. But so, yeah, he is still with the squad somehow. So, I mean, we have 3 keepers, right? But I think obviously we're still in the market for a backup. If not, I don't even really care. As long as this kid's better than Utku and he's the backup, I don't even mind.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't want to do Utku with our backup. Beyond that, on the back line, all the talk of another central defender has dried up. I don't know if that suggests that perhaps Vida will be staying. There's no talk of him accepting a pay cut or anything like that. So,
Mr. Vida, yeah.
So I don't know, but at least for right now, it certainly seems like our boy is staying around. We'll see. Left back, as we mentioned, Nsakala is quasi already with the team. He's kind of in training.
And Wellinton.
And Wellinton as well. I guess we talk about that. He has officially made the move with Fatih Aksoy going the other way.
Well, not officially.
Oh, yeah, sorry, right. Quasi-officially. Yeah, so he's there training even. I mean, I've heard wild rumors that we're still trying to talk down their salaries a little bit. Nothing's...
There's no pictures of them in training. There was a picture of Wellington in the airport.
Yeah.
And Sakala has been wildly posting on Instagram and Twitter with Beşiktaş fans like that he's coming and can't wait to join.
He even gave an interview about why he picked Beşiktaş.
Yeah.
He said that Erol Bulut was
Kartal Pentas and everything.
Well, he said Erol Bulut was really trying to recruit him to Fener, and he still was glad he picked Beşiktaş, and he'd sort of stuck with his guns. So yeah, they're there.
Fatih didn't train, so everything. There's people are saying that they're there, but they're not being pictured. We don't know what's going on.
Yes, and so if they are still trying to negotiate their contract down, it's a little sort of dirty, but I'll take it honestly. Whatever, as long as it's nothing like we're not allowed to bring in transfers, and I don't think that's the case because that's not been. That would have been an official decree we would have heard from UEFA directly by now. So, yes. So Nsakala is there, sort of. Wellinton is there, sort of. Fatih Aksoy left alongside a bit of money, not a lot, I would imagine.
Not any of it has been officially. We're all in the dark. We know it's been done, but we don't know exactly what's happened.
Exactly. News for the right back. Gökhan Gündoğan's officially out. Signed with Fener. Yeah. We knew it was happening, but it's
Mr. Caner on the same day.
That was day one. That was day one. And I think he's been named captain for Fener as well, which isn't surprising given his age and everything, and Emre Belözoğlu being out. So that leaves us with the right side of our defense. There's news of... Well, tell us about it, Evran. Senor Karsdorp.
Rick Karsdorp. I think he's been linked to us for 4 years. But yeah, he's a Dutch right back. Not really known for his defending. Pretty good on the ball. Plays for Roma. They have quite a few players there, so he'd theoretically be available on a loan. 25 years old. Good height. Good on the ball. Dutch international. Hasn't played for a while, but I think he would obviously be expected to start over Douglas. Is he somehow still our right back?
I heard that Douglas was snapped up by was it Erzurumspor or something?
Yeah, but then he was in training the next day.
Yeah, well, and clearly
Roma
we're
paid
not
quite a fee for Karsdorp in 2017. They paid about $17 million, which is a lot of money.
Yeah,
he hasn't really done as well as they probably hoped.
To me, it smells of Lubosho, and I say that as someone who was fairly positive about Lubosho. I think a lot of people will say, but he's probably better than him. Maybe. I actually thought Lubosho was pretty decent when we did see him. And at the end of the day, what ultimately played a role in his not being a success was that we would have to pay money for him at the end of the thing, and we didn't have it. So I'm a little weary of these types of loan moves in that sense. I wish we had a kind of Ridvan Yilmaz on the right side that I could feel good about. At least he's there and we'll get time or something. So I don't know what the solution is at right back. It could be Dorukhan, who we've talked about. Although then we have another problem. Thoughts on Karsdorp or the legitimacy? Those are not well-sourced rumors. Also, we should mention that's not an Orchard's Uzel or anything like that. That was supposedly Italian sources, and then a Takvim.
It's one of those that we've heard for years. I think the cost might be a little high for us to be spending that much on a right back right now. For a striker, I can see us spending, big on a foreigner, but on a right back, I don't know. I can see us, settling for like an Ano Dulu team's right back. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, we're gonna see. We'll find out. Or even maybe someone from League One, or I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be Kedem Califat season soon. We'll see.
He didn't even train with the senior team. So
I mean, honestly,
that's another one.
Perhaps this is Douglas's the best chance. Like, I hope that he's looking at this week, 2 weeks or so in training, as the chance to make something of his career. Because really, we're in such dire predicament here as far as time and money goes that if he shows Sergen almost anything, he's probably got himself a guaranteed spot in the rotation at the very least, if not the starting spot itself. But
yeah, I mean, we had hopes for him when he came in, and then he played like 4 games the entire year due to injury.
Yeah,
so.
And people who are really crapping on his performances, I thought that was unfair. He certainly never was given the opportunity to settle.
Yeah, I mean, he played like CDM a couple times.
I know, yeah.
Clearly not as
stupid. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not opposed to at least keeping him as a backup. At the very least, to recoup his value a bit, or enough that we could sell him for something and not just give him away.
I mean, he only has a year left on his contract, so
I was afraid you'd say that. Yeah. So maybe we just gotta get it. Whatever. Ideally, you just sell him, right? Like, it didn't work out. No, but you're not gonna get anything now because he's devalued himself via his season of injury. Oh my god. I mean, I guess you keep him in a backup role, and if he plays well, you try to get him to re-sign before the winter break. And if not, you maybe try to sell him in that winter break for scraps.
$12. Yeah.
$14 and a pack of gum. But yeah, so anyway, that's all we got for the back line for now. And so there's not much news as far as a right back, which again portends well for Douglas. Let's talk about the midfield. There's not anything to talk about except we mentioned Atiba, which is bad news.
We got 2 small talking points.
What do we? Oh, so yeah, Mensah, Bernard Mensah, and who? Badu Ndiaye. Who's the second?
No, Mario Lemina.
Ah, nice. That's actually way better than I. All right, so let's start with the Mensa talk. What have you got there for us?
I think he's been perpetually linked to the big 3 clubs all season. But now with relegation canceled, you have to remember how much money Kayseri paid for him, which I think was 4 or 5 million. And they also only own 60% of him. So if they sold him for 2 million, they would only get 60% of that, and they just spent 4 million on him, and they're broke.
Yeah, so that's not very logical at all.
But they're not broke they didn't get relegated, so they can't pay a salary type broke. They're just broke they're not gonna part for 2 million in 2 players. There's rumors saying that we'll give him 4 players for him. I mean, it's not looking like a transfer that will happen. I would not get your hopes up.
Yeah. And among those 4 players, the only one I can sort of think of offhand is Tyler Boyd, who they've mentioned, and that would create. Now, then we'd need 2 more wingers instead of just the 1. So that's not that smart, I guess. I guess maybe it's easier to get a winger on the market for free. I don't know if that's the case at all. But yeah, I mean, not much news there. What about Lemina? Tell us what's going on there.
So Lemina, there's no concrete news, but the only real thing we can say is that Sergen said that he would like him. That's from Orta Chizgi, but they also say that Lemina's asking salary is $2 million a year, which is a lot. He has 2 years left on his deal with Southampton. Gala had him on loan last year with their Champions League money. I think also there's something we have to talk about. His current wife is the ex-girlfriend of a marquee player we've been linked to. That we'll discuss in a couple minutes. So there's a lot going on there. Yeah, I mean, I think player-wise, he's a perfect fit. Financially and stats-wise, it might not work.
Especially financially. I mean, I guess it
more
would
like
be a loan
financially.
again, but
Yeah, it would be a loan. But $2 million salary is no joke for a center mid. Yeah,
no, it's not.
obviously Champions League days, 3 years ago, I think this would be like an obvious transfer.
Yeah. I mean, so let's think
but,
about what,
yeah.
like, in reality, we're very likely going to see Ozan and Atiba, assuming we actually get this guy back in training.
Yeah. I mean, Lemina would be a great Atiba replacement, or El Neni replacement, kind of like. But it's a high cost.
And that's
for
the thing;
1
it's
year.
got to be a long, like, an Atiba replacement has to be a long-term thing, right? You got to be rearing the guy. So a 1 year thing isn't really going to solve that problem, really. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't think we've heard the last of our options in the center of our midfield, and I don't think either of these options is realistic.
And one of those options that we thought was going to happen, Ninua.
Yeah,
There's reports that Sergen doesn't want him. That's what kind of like looks like, and so the deal's off. And funny enough, PAOK is very close to sign.
Yeah,
so,
if he bites,
we may see him in 2 weeks.
That would be like, you hate to create a narrative for someone, really, to be snubbed by us and then to come back. Like, you're giving him the chance. Ugh, that sucks. Yeah, that's a shame. I was looking forward to that. He's young too, so it was kind of a nice, cheap, diamond in the rough kind of thing. All right, moving on then. Wings. The left wing is fairly sorted, I guess, if you consider Nkudu and Boyd as his depth. The right side, less so. We have Lens, period. Lens is in training, so he'll probably be back. I don't know. Hopefully he'll take a pay cut.
Also, Lens might have to play right back. So,
yeah.
Don't know
with Boyd,
what's going on.
So any news there? So the last was Gökhan Töre.
Yeah, that has kind of dried up. The president just said again, we're not letting him go for free. Piss off. You need to give us money or player. They said we want Tyler Boyd, kind of thing. But obviously that's a stupid trade. Like, just Boyd's values a lot more. He's like 5 years younger.
Yeah,
so.
And you're just, again, trading a need for the same need. You'd still need then to get another winger for depth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a net loss, I think, especially because Gökhan Töre is significantly older and presents a lot less upside. Yeah, I mean, that's it, really, right? There's nothing else as far as the winger so far.
Yeah.
Gökhan Inci has dried up for now. That leaves us with one position remaining. So what I'm hearing is we have two. So they're on the market for two strikers. I'm assuming more of an outright attacking striker, and then more of a sort of secondary, sort of Diaby-like striker who hopefully isn't Diaby. So there's two pairings they're looking at, and the constant in both of these pairings is the one striker who's the guy up front. So the guy they're trying to pair him with are Akpom, who currently plays for, who we mentioned earlier last episode, who plays for PAOK, which makes this obviously way more complicated. And the other guy is Cisse, who sort of comes across to me as more of an outright striker, not a secondary supporting striker. So I don't know why that would be the case. I guess he's probably just a very cheap option and would provide some sort of depth. But I guess so. Before we talk about the main attraction here, do you have any thoughts on that? Akpom/Cisse?
Yeah, I think Akpom was pretty close, but now that we draw them in the Champions League, I don't think they want to sell. Like, he only has 1 year left on his deal, so PAOK will probably want to sell if he's not going to re-sign, but they don't want to sell him to the team that's going to play them in 2 weeks.
Yeah, or they'll just wait 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, they'll just wait. Yeah, they'll just wait 2 weeks.
Which could be okay.
So I don't see that transfer.
Like, we could theoretically wait. We have guys who could fill the role of a second striker as long as we got the first one. But first, anything about Cisse, Papis Cisse of Alanyaspor, for anyone who isn't following.
Apparently, he followed us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, today or yesterday. He's like 35, 36. He's not a second striker. I just hope it doesn't happen. It's just an all-around lazy transfer, like Wagner Love, but a little cheaper.
and hopefully, like maybe a better return theoretically.
Slightly better.
It would be hard not to, honestly. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not on the Cisse train. Good for him, the season with Alanya. Good for Alanya in general. They had a great year all around, and I hope they make some money off of these types. I just hope we're not the ones shelling it out.
He is a free agent, I believe. But
is that right? I thought they'd get something.
Yeah, I believe he's a free agent. He's still
old though.
It's not going to come in for $12 an hour or anything. It's going to be it'd probably be 3 times the cost of what Given would be.
Yeah. Let's just agree now that the podcast does not endorse a move for Papi Cisse. But who I think we'll both agree that we do endorse is the marquee signing of this summer, theoretically for us, and maybe for the Super League at large. The big news that everybody's talking about, and you and I have advocated for in the past, although been sort of in disbelief about our ability to pay for. Somehow, some way, the news persists and gets stronger and stronger by the day, by the minute. Mario Balotelli! Tell us, talk to me, Evran. What do we got?
So Mario is believe it or not, still under contract with Brescia, who we reportedly had like a bust up during Corona with. Everyone's like, oh, he's got his contract removed, it's over, he's a free agent, but he's still under contract there, which complicates things a little bit, but they're saying we're very close to agreeing a deal worth up to 3 million euros, including bonuses. That's from Orta Chisgi, and other sources also confirmed that. The actual base salary has not been confirmed. We've just been seeing 2 to 5, like the Italian source said 2.5 to 3 million as the salary you'd earn, and then Orta says 3 million with bonuses. So hopefully we're not breaking the bank on a striker right now with confirmed salaries, but could be a loan, could be a free transfer. That's not really certain at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating concept.
He's also been interacting with their fans on Instagram, and his friends have been joining in on the Come to Beşiktaş posts now, which is funny. I mean, the naysayers will all speak up and have been speaking up, I think, of late. Plenty to say about him being lazy and difficult and all this other stuff. What are your thoughts, Evran? I mean, I think he gets a real bad rap. A lot of things that people will say, oh, he's done this, he's done that, he's done this. None of those things actually ever happened. Or if they did happen, it wasn't the way you thought it was. Like the famous, like the fireworks in the bathroom. Wasn't like this man was setting off fireworks in his bathroom. He wasn't even in the bathroom. And just a curtain caught on fire. It wasn't like he burned his bathroom down. Or his friend didn't. And then a lot of the other rumors are like people just make things up about him in the English media because they got clicks. So good or bad, most of those things never even happened. He does have some sort of attitude issues, I guess. There are times like he doesn't run a lot, but I think Özil kind of got the same rap because his body language can be kind of like, I don't care, I'm just chilling. And so even if he is running a lot, they'll just see him walking with an attitude, and that seems to trigger some people's Karen meters. I don't know what's wrong with them, but yeah. So if you're winning 4-0 or if you're losing 4-0, I guess he has like the same body language, so that some people don't like that.
Bothers people.
He also has a little tendency to showboat sometimes.
I remember that friendly with McMahon City or whatever. Remember
Yeah.
the
He
spin
also
thing
did it against PSG, and he got flattened by Matuidi.
Nice.
He was a good player, but I think has a good goal scoring record. Multiple countries, multiple leagues, top 5 leagues. He's never played outside of a top 5 league before. So I think he's the player I've been asking for since before he left Liverpool.
I'll tell you, and that's
fan.
my thing. This is an important point, actually, that this will be his first journey outside of the sort of top leagues and everything, because I think he'll have to view it as many have. Let's not forget the likes of Anelka or Numa. Right? We've had a lot of quote-unquote troublemakers come and really make something of their opportunity here in Turkey. Quaresma, certainly, yeah. But I pick out Anelka because he got another shot at the Premier League, remember, afterwards.
Yeah. And then went to Chelsea and almost won a Champions League and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. And sort of really reestablished himself as a legitimate
started at a World Cup and then had to fight with the coach, but yeah,
Whatever, yeah, that was a rough period for France too, but whatever. The point being, Balotelli's 29 still. He'll turn 30 midway through towards the beginning of the first half of the season, but even still, he has a lot to play for, I think. He is of that age now where his children are reaching a certain point. You can see, I'm a big proponent of the fatherhood, or sort of, I should say, parenthood aspect of maturing guys who, I think Quaresma is a good example of a guy who has become kind of a family man in the last certainly 5 to 10 years. I don't know how old Ricky is. Maybe 10 is giving him a little much, but maybe
7 years probably.
Yeah, but I think being a father has had an impact on him. Obviously, his images that he puts on Instagram and whatnot are more beach with the family vibes than going out and having a big night like they once were. So, I think all of this stuff sort of could lead to a perfect storm of, he needs to reestablish himself. He realizes that this is kind of a last stop theoretically. If he doesn't put up now, it's not going to get any better. Next stop is probably Cluj, and Romania or something.
MLS.
Or MLS, yeah. So I think it could be the perfect storm of things that really contributes to Mario, right? We have some success with Mario. Old strikers named Mario. And again, this one's not even that old, at just 29 still. 30.
I think that was the age Gomez came, around 30, 29.
Oh, really? I think he might have been on 31 or 2.
Maybe 31, but he had one good season with us and then was in the Euros for Germany, so.
Exactly. No, there's it makes complete sense for him to give it a shot for a year. It makes sense for us. We need a striker, having lost Burak suddenly and being in this sort of precarious scenario. 1 year option, and heck, if it works out really well and things go nicely, he can stick around. Beyond that, who knows? I just want him to ink the contract in the first place, and we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Khan said this, so I did not think of it first, but Balotelli's the type of guy who needs a loving environment. He doesn't really take well to negative environments.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think Besiktas could technically be that if our fans give him a chance, and he's especially those first games are going to be without fans if he scores goals in it, if he does come, obviously. And then by the time the fans came back,
we're behind him and expecting things. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it all. We could have no fans for much of the season still, so even that could be not much of a difference maker, which could be good again in his case, where negative fans can be bad.
Yeah,
and
I think
we all hope
to be able to.
Well, and that's the other thing. Yeah, Sergen. In fact, I think early on in the process, Sergen Yalchin said that his quote unquote personality issues would not be a problem with him as coach. He'd know exactly how to deal with them. So, and I believe it, because that's exactly the kind of guy he was. And I think Sergen has said, he's been on the record as saying, if you have X amount of talent, I'll give you leeway. Just put that talent on the pitch when it needs to be there. So, like, it could be a match made in heaven. I don't know, man. I don't know. I somehow I imagine a Balotelli Ljajic connection being sort of otherworldly. Ljajic obviously speaks Italian, having spent quite a bit of time in Serie A. And, I remember the connection he had with Burak Yilmaz. Burak Yilmaz's problem being that he had the chronic injury and would rarely be able to kit up. So, just, there's something about a Balotelli-Ljajic connection that's very intriguing for me. We have a history, speaking of Ljajic, of bringing these troublemakers in. We've mentioned Numa and Quaresma. Sergen Yalchin is another example. And sort of bringing the best out of their talents. And, sign me up, man. I don't see us doing any better this year, certainly. Certainly, given our financially constraints. It's pretty much, if you think about it, it's Balotelli or Papi Cisse. So take your choice.
Or Kyle Larin.
Kyle Larin. That's true. That's true. Take your choice, folks. I'm going to put my chips into the Balotelli camp, personally. You do you. Is there anything else, Evran? I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's everything.
Wow. We've done it again. We couldn't really... remember when it's a 20-minute episode? Anyway, so... as always, follow us on Twitter at Eagles_podcast. Philadelphia Eagles fans must always be pissed by that. I don't know how we got that. Anyway, follow the mothership. Lots of news coming in, fast, hot, and heavy every day. At Bashiktash_INT. Follow this guy over here, the Akman, at fan of BJK. Follow myself at Sir_Rights_a lot. As always, stay tuned for more. We'll next episode, we'll certainly have something to report as far as the transfer goes, and whether it's great, exciting news or underwhelming, not so exciting news, there will be something to be said. I guarantee that. On top of it, there will be probably concrete news as far as when friendlies will be played. If not, maybe they'll already be underway by then. Who knows these days? Evran, any parting words?
Transfers soon. Hopefully.
Transfers soon.
You're running out of time.
Thank you for that. Articulate. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, exactly. Transfers soon, please. I fully concur with everything. I'm gonna do one last search on Twitter because I always get bitten by this. By the time I'm in post about to release this, there will be news of the transfer, and we're gonna be like late and redundant and irrelevant. Let's see. Drum roll. Is there any news? You seeing anything?
Nah, it's like 6 a.m. in Turkey, so we should be good.
You never know, man. You never know. Crazier things have happened. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything at all. I'm not even seeing posts about Besiktas. You Turks are really sleeping at the moment. Good for you. On that note, go Besiktas! See you next week, folks. Peace out. Donate. Raffle ticket. Buy that shit.
Yeah, I got good.
It's already faded out.
Besiktas International hopes you enjoyed this program.